Alright, so y'all, LakerFan here. As it's about to head today's video, we have winners and losers from the Season 2 patch in NBA 2K26. I want to just straight up have a discussion video with y'all. I feel like they've been performing pretty well, and I feel like it just resonates with people pretty good. So, as you can see, we just have literally screenshots of me in my notes section of who I believe are the winners and who I believe are the losers of the Season 2 patch for 2K26. Now, I just have to say, the beauty in this is even if you are one of these losers, you can easily become one of these winners. It's not like you just have to be a small guard at heart or a 6'11 at heart or anything like that. You can still conform to the playstyle and adjust and, obviously, adapt, essentially. Now, I will say, I want to get out of the way early. I understand that you guys out there who are like nerfed by certain patches and stuff like that, it sucks. I've been there before myself as well, and it definitely sucks even more when you have to, put money into it and stuff like that to continue to play the game in a playable way. Now, I will say, people who chase metas and stuff like that, like for instance, people who were on 7-4s for the first month of the game, then for the people who were on these fading guards for the next month of the game, I gotta say, chasing the meta isn't exactly always a easy playstyle on your wallet because it's always going to get hit the hardest over anything. And as you can see, a lot of it is in these losers. So anyway, let's start the video off with some winners here. And again, I just want to shout out to everybody who's been waiting on something like this, because myself, I'm excited for it as well. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoy the video. If you do, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to noties, all the good stuff. And like always, try this one to 1,000 likes. So as you can see, in these color codings, I want to have green as the big winners, yellow as still winners for sure, not quite as big, but still pretty, solid winners, and then red as like, granted it's red, you'd think it's bad, but I want you to think of red as like minor winners, not really a huge deal, but like still coming out on the bright side of things. And then another category of things I wanted to talk about was the balance between game modes. So in my opinion, this patch was a really good W and like really good for the balance as far as 3s, 2s, kind of, not really. I feel like the midi faders are still here. Like the midi fade green windows look plenty big. If you turn the shot meter on in the my court or anything like that, you can see it doesn't seem to be quite as impacted nearly at all, to be real with you, compared to the 3-point fades. So off rip, I mean, like anybody that wasn't fading, it's just truly like something that we have to talk about. You are a big winner. Whether you happen to be any of these people as well as a subcategory, if you're not fading pre-patch, you're loving this patch off rip. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that we'll get to with the bump steals and stuff like that. That's why lockdowns are winning off this as well. Pass first guards that aren't constantly dribbling the ball to be operating in like, a pick and roll offense or anything like that. Or, just to be a scorer 24/7. You as a pass first guard with your head up and stuff like that, dribbling very simplistically and, involving your teammates and stuff like that, you're winning off something like this. You absolutely love something like this patch, and it's going to employ your playstyle quite a lot when it comes to either rec or pro-am, anything to do with 5s, even for 3s, to be real with you. I think 3s is truly back in terms of its like really good balance. I mean, I was playing a lot of really good guards today as well, but you could even still see they can't fade from 3, for one. For 2, it's all peak shots. Like they're trying to sit between your side defense and stuff like that. You key in on that. Personally, I think like some pre-switch defense is going to be really, really good. We've made plenty of videos talking about how to defend pick and rolls, and unfortunately, I don't think y'all need the videos because, to be real with you, you'll see in the loser section, I think pick and roll is coming out real ugly out this patch, to be real with you. But anyway, moving along. Off-ball sharps. This is going to be a big deal, and I think this kind of blends in together with the pass-first guards technically because, I mean, obviously as a pass-first guard, you want people moving around really well and like, generating the offense through moving around off-ball. Generally speaking, it's hard to get open with ball in your hand now, especially whether it's, ISO, pick and roll, anything like that. You got to be very careful with the ball in your hand. So where don't you have to be careful? Off ball. You don't have to worry about bumping into people. You don't even lose adrenaline off stuff unless you're, doing the spot finders and stuff like that. So off ball sharps, people that are generally just off ball players in general, huge W. If you have good game sense and you move to places that get you open and, have synergy with your teammates as far as the communication and stuff like that goes as well. Now, I want to list slashers as a winner here. However, it's going to come with a little bit of contingency of if you weren't a blur slasher. So unfortunately, Poster Machine is not fixed. Like they didn't swap the ability over from blur over to posterizer. It's not the gigantic mega meters or anything like that. It's it's like better than it was before, but it's not nearly worth running, to be real with you. However, you might hear all these things I'm talking about right here and you wonder, why are slashers in the winner category then? Well, again, playstyle, being enabled. I truly do think slashers, rebounders, centers, all this stuff that I'm talking about right here, pass first guards, locks, off-ball sharps, they all benefit hugely off of fades being nerfed because their playstyle wasn't even enabled in the first place, like before patch. I mean, if you weren't fading, you weren't a plus factor to your team, no matter what you did, whether you're an elite slasher, an elite rebounder, an elite center, an elite pass first guard, anything. It didn't matter, to be real with you. The fading was absolutely dominating the game in all game modes, 2s, 3s, 5s, everything. So not only that, but I do feel like slashers, as far as the regular dunk meters, not just takeover dunk meters like Blur and Poster Machine or anything like that, I feel like the regular dunk meters did get a buff. Very slightly, I will say. It's not anything huge, but you can see the fluctuating dunk meter size and stuff like that, and I truly do think that it helps quite a bit. I haven't seen quite as many like super small meters that I've been getting into, and I really do feel like a lot of the contact dunks I've been getting into as well have bigger meters, generally speaking, than I saw pre-patch as well. That might be placebo. I don't want to speculate too much. I do obviously at the end of the day have pretty limited runs here. It's only been 2 days, but I just want to say that I do think slashers have seen a buff. And again, even if it weren't for the sake of like dunk meter being a better, overall product, it just is that the playstyle is enabled again. You can take 2-point shots and feel comfortable about it and confident that that's not a bad shot selection. You know what I mean? Like, before patch, truly, on 3v3 court, when I'm playing dudes that are averaging 18 points a game on 80% from 3, I gotta worry about taking open dunks. I can't sit there and be like confident and happy about me taking a dunk. It's not good. So I will say, in all the 3v3 gameplay I've been playing since then, never, not once have I sat there and thought that type of a thing, because getting a bucket is important and getting a bucket efficiently is good, once again. So it feels like a brand new game again, and I gotta say I really do like the patch. Now we'll talk about some of the negatives in a second here, but yeah, for rebounders, once again, that's me as well. Like, I can feel the value of being a good rebounder on the court again, because your teammates can't just generate easy offense 24/7. It's not very often in a pro-am game you're gonna come out there and like miss 4 or 5 shots like we did in a video, a couple of days ago. It's gritty offense out here now, man. It really is. And to be an elite offensive rebounder, or just someone that can get into those spots and do it consistently, is way more valuable now than it was previously. Or even defensive rebounding purposes as well. You got to secure those boards to get your stops, or else the teams will get constant offensive rebounds and stuff like that. And it's really important to stay on the boards. So whether you want to say centers are in the same, vein as that, and like same topic, that's up to you. I still think though, good slips and stuff like that, they're really important. People that, like, you really could, before patch, just sit there and hold your B button, hold your, square button the whole time, and just have your guard fade. Because why? Here's the thing. If it was like pick and roll offense, right? As a center, you could just sit there, hold your B button. Doesn't matter if you get your point guard blitzed. He's not going to actually lose the ball. But in this case now, if you sit there and hold your B button the whole time, and the guard's trying to run off that screen, and that help defender comes up and blitzes him, you're going to get him set up and absolutely killed. You need to be a good IQ center now, again, if you're going to operate in the pick and roll offense. And I mean, even more so, like I said, if you want to classify rebounding and paint defense and stuff like that as the importance as well, if you're talking just 5-out centers, it's still important. They're still more important to an overall game product than they were before. So anyway, whether, again, that's the IQ wise on the pick and rolls, it's just in general the real game sense center, it really has become so much more valuable. So anyway, speaking of kind of centers, I like how everything here is kind of segueing, right? We have slashers and rebounders and the centers and the 7-4s. 7-4s, ever so slightly, actually got a buff in this patch. Now, the reason I say that is you don't necessarily have to dribble around a lot to get open. You don't have to worry about bumping off of people and stuff like that. You are, at the end of the day, easy offense. I mean, truth be told, a 7-4 that you can just chuck the ball to at worst case scenario, and it's hard to contest on not the right defender, essentially, right? Like, if you have someone that's 6'7" and below on you or anything like that, like, it's bad to, try and contest something like that, even still. So in order to get easy offense and bailout offense and stuff like that, 7-4s truly will see a little bit of a buff with this patch. Now, I'm not here to say that they're back entirely. You're not going to see them everywhere, but starting 5, I think that really might be a thing quite a bit, to be real with you. Again, it's just like, you don't have to risk dribbling the ball and turning the ball over. you don't really have to fade like a 6'11 and like a, a small guard or anything like that would before either. So really your playstyle has not been hurt nearly at all, to be honest. So, I mean, all in all, it is buffed. It's just ever so slightly. And then X button shooters as well. It's not like X button shooting got easier. It's just that naturally your competition of rhythm shooting got a little bit harder. So I'm not here to say rhythm shooters are gone. That's why you won't see it in the losers either, to be fair. Obviously the the fading is like, a whole different story, but standstill rhythm, it's still plenty fine. It's just that it got a little, like a slight bit harder is all. Barely. So anyway, my point is though, X button shooters see a very slight buff entirely. But anyway, again, for park balance, 3s, I love this. For 2s, it's okay. I don't know. It's still going to be like midi fade dominated 100%. So don't think it's like a perfect world on 2s, to be real with you. I think the balance is not going to be there even still on 2s. It's still going to be like offensive rebound guy at the 2 with, super high mid-range guy at the 1. If you want to say that you don't have to respect the 3 as much, I understand, kind of, but it's still going to be standstill shots, really easy to make. And like, the only fading they're going to do is on the middies. So if you want to go low on screens, you could do that. I think that's like slightly easier to guard now. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're going to have to go under nearly everything on the screens if you don't want to switch everything, to be fair. So yeah, anyway, moving along. Losers. As you can see, we have a lot of very specific type of people right here. So we have small guards, obviously. It's a tough one, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's one of the more skill-based play styles in the game, but truth be told, like, pre-patch, it wasn't. I mean, like, now don't be wrong. I'm not gonna come out there pre-patch fading or anything like that on a small guard. It's not my body, it's not my style, and I'm probably not even capable of it, to be real with you, nearly as much as I am a lot of other things in this game. So I'm not here to hate on it. And you won't hear me dissing people that were running stuff like that. But again, the fading obviously was very powerful. It was super overpowered. I'm not here to call it super easy, but it was for a lot of people that are decently good at those types of styles. That's just not me. So again, it's not my place to be talking about, but obviously, a lot of them were small guards or the stretch bigs of this nature, like the 6'11s and stuff like that, 6'10s that had the shifty shooter. So unfortunately, my boy Kitchen, obviously, right? Like, this type of playstyle does not work anymore. Dre, the dudes that are on the hash that I can just, like, point being, when I was running my Pro-Am team, I was having super tall builds on the wing initially. I was like, let's roll with like a 6'11 and a 6'10 on the hashes. Harder to contest, harder to pinch off of because you can't, like, gap as much on the contests. And then even still, if they didn't have a shot, they could catch, run, fade, something like that. Thing is, that is not accessible anymore in Pro-Am, and to be able to put the ball on the floor and be a legitimate pick and roll ball handler or ISO 5 out option is important now, and I think you need to be 6'8 and below to be able to operate as a real ball handler on 5s now. So I have to say, I do think those 6'11s are nerfed hard, like really, really hard, and that's why you see it in the red just along with the small guards, because even still, like, small guards, I mean, I think they can still get away with playing 5s really capably. I must say, the only way you can really even play Pro-Am pick and roll is to be on a small guard even still. I don't think you can pull it off on a 6'8 anymore, to be real with you. I don't think you're going to be fast enough. I don't think you can create enough space off a screen to be able to actually still afford quick stopping rather than fading, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be real ugly playing pick and roll, and that's why you will see it, obviously later in the video, or just like one more topic away. But anyway, speaking on what can even still relate to some of this as well, of blending into these two play styles, is standstill dribble combo players in ISO. Now, I do say ISO mainly because I do think for pick and roll, you can depend on your screener to get you open more, obviously. For the standstill dribbling, this is where we talk about the bump steals and stuff like that. I've noticed it myself in 5 out. I've even still seen Kitchen struggling in the pick and roll offense as well. We'll get there too, trust me. I've seen that man in action so many times in the past, and he's come out on top every single time. That's the type of player I'm talking about when it comes to these losers right here, is adapting and figuring out ways around it. I've seen some of the best players that I've ever played with be able to adapt to all types of stuff like this, and it never matters what the meta is. They'll always conform to stuff like that. So anyway, point being though, for the standstill dribble combo players that are also, like I said, mainly in ISO, it's tough, man. I mean, if you come out there and just are someone that's spamming Jimmy Butler escapes and stuff like that, or just in general standstill escapes at all, it's ugly. It's real bad, bro. I mean, you're going to run into people quite often, just because the ball is going left, right, left, right. Eventually, you're going to go on one wrong direction and the defender ends up on the spot and boom, you're dead. It's over. So you got to be smart with your dribbling. You can't just sit there and you know, ironically, let's just segue into the other one. Players who can't look up while they dribble. You can't just sit there and, you know, do brain dead moves so that you can easily look at your defender. You can look at the help defender on the backside. You can look at corner droppers and stuff like that. People with like the good vision on stuff like this of like not needing to like, you know, look directly at their player and their defender. And this is what I mean by players who can't look up. I mean can't see past just them and their defender. That is the type of people that are really going to get hit by something like this, because you're gonna get blitzed, you're gonna get helped off the wing, you're gonna get dropped on and off the corner, and you're gonna get bumped a lot. So if you aren't comfortable with your dribble moves enough to be able to avoid the bump and stuff like that, it's gonna be ugly. So you gotta really just master your craft of like how you move and stuff now, so that you actually can avoid those bumps while still being able to see the floor. And again, you are gonna need to be a little bit more of a floor general out here. I like this overall, to be fair. And there's gonna be some people who don't. I understand, you know. I think a lot of us, though, the casuals, I'm not claiming myself as a casual, but I play a lot like one, to be fair. So the thing is, I think a lot of us, the real hoopers, if you will, I don't know, I feel so corny claiming myself as that, but my point is that we are coming out on top on a patch like this. And if you have those, you know, intangibles, like being able to see the court while you dribble, being able to just do smart things on offense, whether it's get open off ball, get open with ball in hand, like, you know, in a simple and effective way. Those are the people who are eating off stuff like this big time. Now, whether you think this like opens or closes the skill gap in this game, I'm not really sure whether I want to put my stamp on whether the skill gap is higher or not, to be fair. I think it's bigger, to be fair, but like, I don't know, I'm not positive on that, so I'm not trying to speak on that too much, but it's probably going to be overall more fun for a lot of different play styles. So that's my take on that. Pick and roll as a whole, I really have to talk about this because, boy, let me tell you guys, I'm never biased to either play style. I want balance for both. I really do think, though, because, I mean, you guys have seen me. I run as a pick and roll screener, as in I'm the center when I do the pick and rolls, but then I run 5 out as a point guard as well. I'd like to think I'm one of the few people who do something like this at the consistent rate that I do, and it leaves me in a spot where I can't ever be biased toward the either, because I embrace 5 out as an offensive point guard, but then I embrace pick and roll as the screener. So, like, this leaves me right in the middle of both of them, and I must say, for 5s, 5 out is so far and away better as a overall like offense to run. There's more spacing, there's more ability to like get cuts off the wings, the corners. You can do all types of wraps and stuff like that. You know, constant movement of your offense. Pick and roll, boy, I mean, when the whole center point of your offense has to just focus around quick stops and like midi fades and like, you know, crabs, which are dangerous too when you can't even do escapes, but like maybe for D-book, you know, aggressive breakdown combo and stuff like that, sure, it can get into crabs, but like, I just don't think overall it's going to be nearly as efficient. And I mean, I just don't think it's going to be in a balanced state when it comes to 5s. I don't know what rec is going to be looking like. I mean, I assume rec is more of a 5-out offensive look, if you will. But, I mean, dudes be running screens every random spot. 2 guard, 3, power forward, whoever it's going to be setting screens. Half the time, it's anybody but the center. So, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what rec looks like. I might even have to hop into random rec myself one of these times here pretty soon. But anyway, yeah, as far as like the 3s, you know, kind of meta, if you will, or 2s, like I said, it's still going to be pick and roll midi fades. So it's still by far like, you know, really overpowered in that sense. It's weird. It's really weird how this game's going to operate. And then like on 3s, I think it's going to be 3s the best balance possible between pick and roll ISO. I think they're both going to be really, really valuable, really good. I think it's a close to 50-50 as it gets on this game mode. Whereas like screens are heavily favored on 2s, and then 5-out / ISO is heavily favored on 5s. I think that's just the true blue, you know, facts of it, if you ask me. So again, for 5s balance, should be dominated by 5-out. Can't even imagine if Blur was still in the game and if Poster Machine worked. I stand by that too. I mean, don't get me wrong, as a biased slasher, I really do hope they fix Poster Machine and give it the actual capabilities of Blur, just so I can, like, I don't know, try that for myself. I've never even did it on pre-patch, and I don't know, I mean, it's kind of lame that, like, we didn't even get the opportunity to try it with Poster Machine, but yeah, I can't even imagine how overpowered 5-out would be if, like, the dunking takeovers were as powerful as they were pre-patch, when we're in this game where dudes can't fade. I mean, it would be by far, like I'm talking, it'd be like a 90 to 10 on like a 50-50, you know, balance ratio as far as 5-out being way more dominant. Right now, it's probably like 70-30 if I had to say my like balance ratio for 5s. And then again, for 3s, I think it's like literally 50-50. And then for 2s, I think it's like in favor, like 60-40 for pick and roll fading, maybe even 70-30 for pick and roll fading. And then like ISO is still good enough to get the job done sometimes, but it's going to be a little bit disadvantaged is my take. So anyway, that's all for video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub, if you're new, turn on noties, all that good stuff. And like always, try us 1 to 1,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video and you want to search sports that you did, put season 2 or put 2 in the comments, search sports you made through. Now, hey, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, I hope this type of context is not like your guys' least favorite when it comes to my videos. I just like appreciate the mini podcast style of things, and that's what this is for the most part, is me just, you know, having my graphics, yapping, and it's more of like listening to the video than watching it, obviously. So I hope you still appreciate stuff like this, or that it doesn't dissuade you as a viewer entirely. But I don't know. I mean, I could see myself watching videos like this as well. So just let me know. Feel free to leave any feedback on the video on some stuff like this. Anyway, as you can see, it's a late night right here. I am still recording at 5:30 a.m. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. But I hope you appreciate a video like this. And other than that, hope you enjoyed. Take it easy, man. Peace.